I decided to do the challenge of reading one book per day for 5 days. More like listen to it. First book I read was Bryony and Roses by T. Kingfisher. I've wanted to try T. Kingfisher's book for a while now because I've heard lots of good things about her books. And I discovered that T. Kingfisher is a pen name, and her real name is Ursula Vernon. I decided what better option than to start with a really small audiobook from her. This audiobook had 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I didn't know until I finished it, but I was like, this is reminding me of Beauty and the Beast and 6 Crimson Roses by Carissa Broadbent. So for me, it was a mixture because in Beauty and the Beast, she's not a gardener or a botanist. But in 6 Crimson Roses, the female main character is a gardener. Yeah, so for me, it was a mixture of these two. I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. But in terms of the romance, I think it was lacking something. She just wants scuddles. In terms of the plot, I think it was good. I thought it was funny that, this might be a spoiler, but I thought it was funny that the female main character was not the beauty in Beauty and the Beast, because there was a beauty in the book, that we also have the rose. Yeah, I think it's really hard to keep up with fantasy when it comes to audiobooks. I think that was one thing that I realized, especially when it's small books, because it happens really quickly and maybe it's just mentioned in like a sentence or like a dialogue. I rated this book 3.5 stars. I think it could be considered a cozy fantasy, maybe. It has its dark side, but so do cozy mysteries, so I think it can be considered a cozy fantasy. On day 2, I read The Fae King's Assassin by, I forgot the name, by Alicia Clefec. I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. This was the book I least liked. If we don't count the DNF, we will talk about that in a second. But this was the one that I least liked, that I fully listened to. And unfortunately, it was the biggest. This audiobook had 8 hours. And I hate to say this, but it was the typical romantasy fae thing. Some people might enjoy this. If you are a vibes reader, you don't care about the plot, you don't care about the outcome, you're just there for the world and to see what the characters are like, just for the vibes, then maybe you will enjoy this. If you're used to reading fantasy and you like the plot, I don't think this book is for you. I don't know if it was the narrators that also put me a bit more down in terms of this book. Unfortunately for me, it was the typical fantasy. You had the Fae King, and then you had the female main character that is human, and then she's Throne of Glass kind of thing, has an owner and works for this like assassins organization and is ordered to kill the Fae's king. It's in the title. And you know, she wants to get out. She doesn't want to be tied to her owner. She wants to get free. There's your romantasy type plot that it can work. It can be different, but I don't think this one did it. It had a dragon. I put this on the list because I saw it was also about dragons. I think the series is called realm of dragons and I think fae. So I was like, oh, that's nice. I really want to read it. The dragon appears in like 1/3 of the book and it's really cute, but maybe it's just not for me. On day 3, I read All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a sci-fi book. It was a really interesting read. You follow the robot. The robot is our main character, and I'm not used to reading things like that, so I really enjoyed it. I like that this book covers a bit of free will and its philosophy and robots. So basically, our cyborg, our main character, hacks himself in order to be able to do what it wants. And it's funny that he decides that he wants to watch soap operas. And I think this is also a way for him to learn about humans and what they do and why they do what they do. And in order to not be discovered, he continues to follow orders from the crew that he was put in. This is a nice crew, so it also has a bit of found family. Not yet, but I think it will get there. I'm not going to spoil anything, and I think that is enough to understand the concept of that book. This audiobook, I believe it's 4 hours, 4-something hours, 4 or 5 hours. I just didn't like the narrator at first, but then I got used to it. I also didn't know he was making a robot until like a little bit after it started. So maybe that was one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy it at first. The narrator, not the story. I think it's an interesting read if you like sci-fi or if you want to try sci-fi. No romance, nothing like that. In case you don't know, the All Systems Red book has now a series on Apple TV. I started watching, I saw the first episode. I think it was more or less accurate. I did not have the same idea for the crew. For me, the crew was a bit more serious than it shows on the TV show. But I'm enjoying it, and I will probably continue watching. On day 4, this is when things got interesting. I started reading Candy for My Orc Boss. I was like, let's try a different type of fantasy. So more romance than fantasy, but including the monster part. So I think it should be more like monster romance, but it is still fantasy. So I was like, let's try, right? It started off right away with spice, so you get to understand that this is like a one night stand romance, where then he is her boss at where she will work in. I was going to give this a shot. I don't really like to read a book like all spice. I need plot. I need something. I need something else. It can have spice, obviously, but I need plot. I need something. I continued, but the female main character voice was not okay for me. She was having this spicy thoughts, but in this baby voice. Once I discovered that this orc's name was one of my friend's name, I was like, no, thank you. And so I gave up. However, I was like, I still want to do this challenge, so I'm just going to pick something else, like another short book to read. And I picked up Alethea. Sorry, give me a second. By Katrina Day and Philomena Polifrone. This book surprised me, so I was glad that I DNF'd the other one. This one is graphic audio, and it was so well done that I got jump scared because I thought someone was talking behind me, but it was on the headphones. Alethea is a sci-fi, and it's in a world where one company owns the entire world. So if you're employed, you're working for that company. So basically, they own everything. Our main character is a scientist that works for this company. And she went to this new project where she was to discover the cure to this disease that started a while ago that also killed her mother. The book starts off with her going back home to see her dad, because she found something when she was doing the onboarding to that new position. And her dad is kind of gone. She can't find him. On the path to discover her dad, she finds an old friend that was her childhood's neighbor, and she discovers that her dad and this childhood friend and another person are kind of the resistance and want to work towards exposing the company. I think this was a good book. I'm not used to like sci-fi, but I think this was a really well done book. The only thing I didn't like so much was the fact that at the end you don't really get closure. I think it's worth it. And I think listening to the audiobook, it was better. Day 5. I read The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. This is a novella from his The Elantros series. I did not read any books from that series, but I saw that it was okay to start with this novella. Some people read it third, I believe, on that series. Some people read it first, but they say it really doesn't matter where you read it. This one was also a graphic audio. It follows Shy. She's a forager, and she can forger everything. I really like this concept where she needs to know the background of the things or whatever she's changing in order to do that. So she needs to understand how it was made, how it was created, the soul, the background, all of the history in order to forge it or to change it. And I really enjoyed that. So for example, let's say a chair. If she wanted to change the chair, she would have to think about like how it was created and then rewrite its history. So for example, if we want an older chair, we would be thinking about the chair not being taken care of during a lot of years, and then we could forge that chair as an old one. I think the concept was really, really interesting. She was obliged to forge the Emperor's Soul, here's the title, because the Emperor suffered an attack and he was badly injured, and I think his soul went bye-bye, from what I understood. And I really recommend it if you like Brandon Sanderson, or if you want to try something from Brandon Sanderson. I think you could start here. I haven't read the Elantris series, so please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Whoever is thinking about it, please research if you can read this as like the first book of Brandon Sanderson, like ever. And that was it for our challenge of reading one book a day for 5 days. More like listen. This was a really fun challenge to do, but it was also tiring. And I think I missed a lot by having the pressure of having to read it in a day or listen to it in a day. So once I started, I almost did not pause, or if I did, it was just for like an hour or two, and then I continued. So I think if you're thinking of doing a challenge like this, have in mind that it can be tiring, or have in mind that you might miss stuff. So maybe don't read books that you won't be able to read in a day. Maybe choose books between 3 and 5 hours, because I think it can get pretty tiring. If you want to know, my favorite book from the challenge was probably... it was either The Empire's Soul or Alethea. I really enjoyed both. different styles, but I really enjoyed those two. And my least favorite was the Fake King's Assassin, which I'm kind of surprised. I thought I would prefer the romantasy versus the sci-fi. That was all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and to like the video. I really appreciate it. If not, thank you for watching anyways. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.